Hey there, welcome to Debatin with the Boys. I'm Luke.
I'm Alan, and today we are reviewing the new Wonder Years record, No Closer to Heaven.
Pictured here.
It came out
September.
last 2015.
Yeah, on Hopeless Records. It's their fifth album?
Yes.
Yes, the fifth album. As we had the great trilogy of Upsides, Suburbia, Giving You All On the Thing, and The Greatest Generation. And this album's a bit of a departure from that kind of trilogy, from what what most people expect from the Wonder Years.
Yeah, it's definitely taken a bit of a backseat, like in terms of like high energy.
Yeah, the intensity certainly down in some aspects.
Yeah, it's definitely intense in different ways.
I think you can tell just straight off, like from just looking at the artwork.
It's very different to anything else
Yeah,
we've
very
ever done.
artily drawn. Almost depressing. This is I'd consider this something you'd find in a gallery.
Yeah, and like when you look back on like Suburbia,
Just a Hank the Pigeon, just chilling.
like the last album was a bit artsy in a different way.
Yeah,
With
you look at both covers from the Upsides.
Yeah.
Originally it was just a guy with the cardboard sign, and then you had like a cartoon Hank the Pigeon as well.
And then obviously on Get Stoked On It was a bit different again.
Yeah, that was very early Wonder Years. But so it's almost like the band have matured on this album. I mean, you can kind of see the progression as songwriters, certainly, through that.
And their age.
Yeah, their age.
Like, they've been together for a long time now, It's definitely fair to say they don't probably listen to the same music they did when they first got together.
I think so. I think, and that's one factor in growing up. I mean, your whole outlook on life changes. I mean,
Exactly.
these are probably people who are having children.
This is their career.
Marriage as
Whereas
well.
When they're first together, you could say they just did it for the fun, and now it's like their career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, get stoked on it. I mean, that's what it was. You just wanted to get stoked on it.
Absolute jokes, like.
But so the first single they released off the album, Cardinals. It's track 2 on the album.
First proper track after the intro track.
Yeah, and really when it came out, a lot of people when it first came out, were like, oh my god, the Wonder Years back. New track, and then after I listened to it, kind of sunk in that this wasn't
The same Wonder Years.
Yeah, and so it's still quite an upbeat track.
Yeah. It's not Suburbia, like.
Yeah.
Or
and,
Upsides even.
Yeah, and like the songwriting focus on those albums has changed. So we used to talk a lot on those albums about suburban life.
Yeah.
About, living in your parents' basement, going to...
what happened to your friends back in the day?
There's the great meme online of all the pop punk bands, and like one line describing them, and the Wonder Years was...
this is what I did today.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit more serious. It's a bit more...
some people consider it a concept album.
Yeah.
In that they're all dealing with like a loss, or the character who's not named in any way. It's not that
Yeah, it's a loss.
Yeah, it's the theme of loss goes through it. I mean, there are a couple of tracks. Thanks for the Ride is about Soupy's deceased friend, and it almost appears, like a message to them kind of thing.
Yeah, is it in the video for Cigarettes and Saints, the one where he's carrying
Cardinals,
where he's and it's just like with the ambulance like moving away and stuff, and nobody's taking notice of him carrying the thing. It's like really like a
clearly
metaphor.
Drenched.
Yeah, it's like a metaphor for like he couldn't do anything. That's what I see. That's what it kind of seems to come across as anyway.
Yeah, so like I gave the album a listen to earlier today. I've listened to it a few times since release, and if one thing that struck me is almost some tracks of Weezer-esque. I mean, I'm not talking about Buddy Holly or Beverly Hills or anything stupid like that. But when you look at some of the darker side of Weezer, like Pinkerton, for example, some of the tracks certainly come across in that kind of, slightly more morose way, but still quite upbeat in their own ways.
Like with Pinkerton, it was like a not so critically acclaimed at the time.
Yeah, like a lot of fans hated it, and now a lot of fans look back on it as Weezer's best record.
But like this was for an album like No Closer to Heaven is like it's one that's definitely grown on me. Like when I first heard Cardinals and Cigarettes and Saints come out, I was like, oh, this is going to be a slow album. I don't know if I'm going to like this. but it turns out it's actually awesome. It's a pretty good album. Definitely won me over a little bit when they released I Don't Like Who I Was Then.
Yeah, that's one of the more typical Wonder Years songs.
Yeah.
You got a song for Ernest Hemingway is typical Wonder Years. You in January sounds like a classic Wonder Years closer track, even though it's not the last track.
Yeah.
It is, but if you think back to All My Friends Are in Bar bands,
yeah,
and then look at You in January, you'll see what I kind of mean there.
They're kind of rounding everything out. Like.
Yeah, it's that kind of like slow build to and like we mentioned, touched on like lyrics earlier. So Soupy, the singer of the Wonder Years, did a side project back last year, Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, and I can kind of see that coming through a little bit.
Yeah, you can see definitely the things like slipping through. It's just, I think it's like the subject matter he's talking about, and like some similar sounds are also slipping through as well. But it's definitely a bit more Wonder Years on the Wonder Years album.
Yeah. Like with Aaron West, he said he wanted to go away from just talking about suburb life. I wanted to create this whole story, which he did of, I think it was like 1920s or 1950s America.
Yeah.
And he wanted to, put some of his personal anguish into this other character, Aaron West, and like create a concept through that. And it's a really great album. I really recommend checking it out.
Really
and if he does do an Aaron West show live, get yourself to that.
It's really good.
So yeah, like I know he went through some writer's block, or it was reported that he went through writer's block in the run up to this album. He found himself depressed. He'd go like down to the river, down to a coffee shop, even for a walk. And he couldn't get. He was like getting angry at his notebook, even. And apparently the way he got over that, he spoke to the guys from Fireworks, Chris Martin of Hostage Calm, Jason Butler of Let Live, who guests on the album, and Ace Enders, who produced the Aaron West album.
I'm not a big fan of the Let Live
Stained Glass Ceilings.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the feature on that, to be honest with you. I think it's a Marmite kind of thing. He's a lovely hater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It does fit with the song quite well.
Yeah, and it's nice to see a little different element.
Yeah.
To a Wonder Years song.
But I personally, I just wasn't 100% won over.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it is much more serious. I mean, if you're expecting a typical Wonder Years album, you might be disappointed, but bear with it, is what I would say.
Like myself, I really, to be fair, I didn't like it on the first listen, but after a couple listens, it's definitely a really good album. Like, even though I didn't like it at first, it's definitely fair to say, as an album on its own, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal album on its own. So, it's definitely worth picking up and giving a listen, like.
Yeah, it should be. It's available on all the great digital outlets like iTunes, Spotify, RDO, stuff like that. Obviously, check out Wonder Years' website, check out Hopeless Records' website, and any other your main distros. Best Buy if you're in the US, I suppose. HMV over here, and your local smaller record stores. Always support your local record stores.
Any good online ones as well. There's quite a couple online.
Yeah,
pretty good,
a couple of good ones online as well.
Yeah,
that's what
I think of it.
Yeah, that's about it really. It's gonna pop.
good.
It's gonna pop up on a load of end of year lists. I know that for a fact. Like reading what other people have said and judging, what other fans have said as well. It's gonna pop up on end of year lists. I do recommend checking it out. We don't really have a scoring system. We'd rather you make up your own mind. Let us know. Let us know what you think
below.
You might think it's absolutely atrocious. You might think it's the best thing since sliced cheese.
Sliced cheese, not sliced bread.
Sliced anything.
Right.
Sliced pastrami, if you like.
Since sliced.
Since the invention of the slice.
Since the first thing was cut, this might be the best thing since.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, don't forget to subscribe.
And like.
Check out our other videos as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back more with more stuff soon. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.